Well, that was an interesting. I have never seen airs like this before. So, good morning. Welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thanks for being here on a slight delayed start. Uh, I took photos of the air, but that was really weird. I've never seen this, but it was. Wait, what does it say? Traffic is unexpectedly high right now. We're creating more resources to handle it. Please wait 30 to 60 seconds to try again. Huh? What? I've never seen that. I mean, I'm hardwired in too, so I'm not even wireless. So I don't understand why traffic was high, but I'm not sure. And the odd thing is I'm not sure if that's locally or if that's hitting the servers, uh, which I'm going to lean that way. I'm going to think it's not so much local because I know the particular cable system and internet that I have is not popular. Well, used to be popular. Now it's not as popular anymore. So it's not like I'm running my. Hey Terry, good morning. Um, so it's not like the neighborhood has tons of it. So I mean, it does, but there's not a lot of customers. I guess I should put it like that. But anyway, so I'm gonna go with the hey Amber, even construction. I know. Well, interesting that you say that. Since I do, hey Nikki, good morning. Since I'm in the audio visual world when it comes to my profession, my responsible paying career, uh there I know a little bit about the internet, not to some. I mean, I know the basics of it and have a good understanding, but there's a lot that still goes over my head. So but hey Dessa, but yeah, I yeah, it's weird, and I'm either thinking it's either StreamYard server had an issue, or the the one main spot that most of you are watching from, because sometimes you got to be careful. You say that and then they start watching you then. So the place that the majority of you are watching from, I have a feeling it might be them having the issue. So but that was a weird error. So yeah, if you're just making it in, you're not really missing much because I barely started. It's only technically a couple minutes in. Well, yeah, I'm about to hit the 4 minute mark, but yeah, I couldn't go live. It wouldn't let me. It just kept failing and telling me there's an error and there's too much traffic, which is, it is an internet, lingo too, but I'm watching from home, must be that. Right, I don't know. Yeah, so that's cool. So at least I got on because I hurried up and made a quick post like I'm trying. I've got too much traffic. I put it real quickly, but I don't know if anybody saw that because I was like, if this doesn't, I'm going to keep trying for a few more minutes, and if it doesn't, then it's probably going to be bad. And I don't know. It's just weird, but it's okay. I mean, like I haven't had this. I haven't had. Usually, I've been pretty good with technical issues. I mean, for the most part, there's always something, but oh well, it is what it is. I'm on. We're live. It's all good. So hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully you guys had a good week. Let me know if you know anything unusual. I always like to hear about those things, because it kind of, it's not so much going to tie into the topic today, but uh I'm always curious. I'm always to see what people are experiencing, especially if it's different, unusual things. They're not it's not normal to them, because that excites me to hear what's going on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate to, if you had really bad stuff happening, and the sky's the limit on everything that could go wrong. But yeah, I mean, hey Debbie, good morning. No, for me, it was Monday wasn't horrible. Monday was decent. And then golly, Tuesday, I should say Tuesday, Wednesday, both days work is, looks pretty good. Actually, it doesn't look like we're busy. It's actually light. And I'm like, that's kind of weird because Tuesday through Thursday is when the bulk of the company comes in. That's when they're required, ever since we've come back from the pandemic. And so Tuesday through Thursday seem to be the craziest of the days. And so the other days, Monday, Friday, let's work from home. So that way makes sense, you know? And but yeah, I mean, both all 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but Tuesday, Wednesday more or less. But, you look at the schedule and, I'm like, "Well, not too bad," I mean, we've got a couple things, nothing. And then stuff came in, and then stuff blew up even more, which made it worse. And so then it was like, panic and chaos. Granted, the interesting thing is I'm getting so used to it now that, you know, I'm not even like freaking out, I mean, in one of them that happened Tuesday was in that kind of level where it was like we're talking we're talking the cream of the cream was the cream of the crop. And it was hilarious because the room that went down isn't one that, well, we help with repairs and things for it, but we don't kick off the meetings for a good reason. Not because we can't. They just have a whole nother group like my team that works with the executives. So this was a high level. This was like the top people of the company in this meeting, and the system had a hiccup. It literally just it dropped and then came right back, and so it was real quick. It wasn't really long term, but everybody loses their mind when something blinks. I mean, look at us. Look at this. I had a technical thing go on, and I didn't lose my cool. I tried a couple things. I restarted, the browser and everything. So I was making sure it wasn't my end, and then I was making sure I got good internet connectivity. So I'm like, stuff happens. There's nothing foolproof, it just blows my mind, but that's okay. So let's see, Amber, here's for some coffee for a fun morning. Indeed. So, but so that kind of blew up. But like I said, this was the top of the company was in there, the top CEO. And so we figure it out, we get to the bottom of it, and we do get it resolved, even though we had to wait until the meeting was over with, but we did get it fixed. And good things worked out. But the funny thing is like I had to get all my techs. I had 2 techs that were checking, working on it. I had to get their report, and then I had to tighten it up, and then I had to send it to my manager, which then sends it over to not our company, but the company where we work for, their manager, which I report to from as well. But I have a direct, but not it's like an indirect. But you got to go through a process. Anybody that that ever has to, you got to pass things up through the chain. That's how it goes. So, but we get it taken care of. But the crazy thing is that all the reports end up going to the CEO because he wants to see what and why his meeting was disrupted. So never mind that it was real quick, but had to find out. So but anyway, so that I think that's kind of interesting. But same thing Wednesday. Wednesday didn't look like much, and then all of a sudden it just blew up. Thank God it wasn't as intense as the day before, but still was up there. And then Thursday, we had things, but it wasn't too crazy. But but that's just how it goes. But so yeah, so I mean, pretty decent. I have to say that even with all that went on, I'm happy to report that. I mean, and actually I said, I think I'm getting so used to this and comfortable. And, I'm also feeling like, at least from the work side of it, my skin is getting thicker. So things aren't as bad as they have been, for the first few months of the year. Now I'm getting so used to it that it's just kind of like it just bounces off me. Like, okay, I care, I do, I still want to fix things, but at the same time, I'm not going to let it consume me for the rest of the time. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have that stuff, but at least I can say after all this, I haven't had a panic attack all week, which was great. I mean, that's a win for me, because it's intense stuff, and I care too much, and I've talked a lot about that, over the years. When you care so much, it's difficult to then not necessarily stop caring, but yet you want to where is that going off? Okay. I lost my train of thought. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm working on things. I mean, that's the whole point of what I'm getting at is that, I'm not letting certain things eat me alive. And so even though I do care, and I do want to do my best, but at the same time, I just realize it's, in the end, I'm going to go home and, hang out and then wake up and it'll be another day. So it's been nice to kind of feel like things have shifted a little bit. And, I mean, it's been tough. I mean, it's like I said, most of you have been hanging out for a while and seen the posts and things. It's been rough, and a lot of stuff bothers me to no end, you know, and I know it shouldn't, but it's just one of those things. Look at that, Tim. Hey, buddy, I don't know if you're running real quickly. I almost hit you up because I was gonna today's topic. I was gonna kind of base it off of what you and I were talking about the other day. I was gonna go out there, but then I wanted to like run it past you a little bit, but maybe next time. I can't remember. I have to look. But I really did. I wanted to bring it up. I mean, not that I'm trying to put myself into a position of, getting hounded by trolls and things, but um, I thought it would be a good one to chat about and give some of my 2 cents on it. So, but yeah, no, I meant to, and then I got kind of distracted and and there's the big distraction I'm going to talk about here in just in a second. So, but I was so distracted that I forgot to hit you, and then I was like, maybe I could hit him up this morning, and then I'm like, you know what, it's no big deal. But there'll be another time for it. So, but thank you for the beard thing. I did straighten it out. It's it'll get properly cleaned up in a little while. But this is good enough for this morning. But yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, it was nice to let's see. Amber saying, I wonder if Tim is lifting weights, watching and commenting on this live, washing his car, mowing his grass at the same time while his feet are up too. His feet got to be up at some point. That's my favorite. Anytime he puts his feet up and he takes a photo of it, that I just love that. I just like that's a retired person right there that deserves that 100%. So gotta be busy, he says. Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I just, for as much as, I mean, I haven't known him for crazy amount of time, but the multiple years that I have known him, I mean, it's like he was just on the tail end of retiring when I think I first met you, Tim. So if I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been that year. I think that was the first year you were wrapping up. So at least I've known you since you ended you ended the daily grind. So, but yeah, no, it's cool. But I just love it when he puts his feet up. I'm like, hell yeah. Live it up, man. Live it up. And then, if he's got Winnie next to him, his dog, it just adds to the whole, we get to chill for a little bit. Yeah. At least a little bit, he's it's funny because I love watching it because there's so many people that are part of a lunker nation now where everybody's, taking care of themselves. They're working out, it's slowly, it's going to slowly, get me pumped up and inspired. So, it's working. I think I need a little bit more time to watch it, and then maybe I'll join the bandwagon that they're all on. And but they're all doing great because like everybody that's I see, they're all making good strides, and that's good. I mean, everyone Lunker Nation, Amber's a part of it and her husband Jason. So no, I think it's great because you gotta you do like what I do. You just if you sit around maybe a little too much and you're not moving. I mean, now that I'm a manager at work, I do sit more. I'm not walking as much, and because I now really can't at times. So, that has truly shown some signs that me sitting around a little bit more at work is not looking too good in some areas, and then, it's not the end of the world. There's always time to, change. And, I'm going to be getting there. I'll be working on stuff because I certainly need to. And, we're all not getting younger. That's for sure. So I will certainly be taking care of myself shortly. Even then I'm going to try not to make excuse too, because which I can, because like next month it is going to be it's going to be really insane schedule wise. There's even a big family vacation. I have posted about the movie, Cruel Summer 3, which is part of that vacation. Um, that I'm going to go down. Well, we're all going down. The whole family's going, but we're going down next month and get to see the premiere of the movie. Get to see myself up there on the screen, and then hang out with a lot of the other cast and crew. Some of them I didn't meet. Hey Kelly, good morning. And so then we're going to hang out. We're going to stay in Florida and do some things, do some activities, get a beach time in there, and a couple of little stops, but have some fun, and we'll deserving. And then when I get home, then I'll be able to start looking at myself a little bit better. So that's much needed, and I know I can't put it off anymore. So because it's only going to get even worse if I don't. So I'm sure once I ever do finally get a doctor, I'm sure they're not going to be happy with me anyway. They're going to be like, "What the hell did you wait so long?" All right, Tim, you have a good one, buddy. Have a great day, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. Tell Nan I said hi. But yeah, no, so everything's cool. Glad to got into the weekend. One of the things I'll finish up. Hey, Jason, good morning. We were just talking. Well, I can't say we all were, but at least I said your name out loud. So, real quick, Jason and his wife's Amber is up there too. Jason was great. It was like 2 days ago, I think it was. He put a picture up, and he's showing his progress, which is, I mean, that's what I was saying. I was Jason. If you missed any of it, I was just complimenting you. Hey, Dinah, and I just said it's really cool, and I said and Jason's even shown some before and after. I think it's a full year that he's been taking care of himself and working out. And what's awesome is that the see that transformation, that shows that when you really commit to things and you put your mind totally into it, because I've known this. A couple times I've dropped significant amounts of weight, and you've mentally got to do it. The mental side of it's the true enemy for you, because that's the one that's going to try to get you to sit still. It's going to try to get you to be lazy, to try to cheat, on foods and so forth. And so that's your greatest enemy when it comes to taking care of yourself. And once you can get a handle of that, and you can convince yourself every day to keep doing it, well, Dad, you're just gonna have to make do, man. Don't worry, it was late. It was a late start. So the show went light, actually. So from the new people that came in, I couldn't light the show on time. It kept giving me errors. It was like high traffic, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So it almost was 5 minutes before I got the show finally lit up. So yeah, it's crazy. But Jason was great. I think, like I said, a couple days ago, he posted a picture, and I mean, like I said, the whole Lunker Nation group, has been awesome. And so, but Jason, had a serious look on his face, and it's like, I'm going to make him smile. That was my determination at this point, because he had that serious look. And I was going to do the classic, Joker line, why so serious? And I thought, well, I'm gonna switch it up. So I sat there and put in the comments. I'm like, can't you just give us a smile, or a little smirky grin or something like that, pretty please? And so he took another photo when he had a chance, and he's smiling like as big as you can get. So I was dying laughing when I saw him. Like, heck yeah, because I'm like, I knew I was gonna get him to crack. So, but so that was fun, having fun with Jason a little bit. Just no, I want him to be serious. I do want you to be serious, Jason. I just like, you gotta crack a smile once in a while in there, because a lot of his photos, he's like that. He's just like, he's into it, and he's focused, and that's awesome, and that's the way it should be, And then, but like, I'm like, well, you got to smile too, slip it in there. so it was fun. That was a good time with them. So, but yeah, I'm really, it's again just happy for them, and all that they're achieving, and they're seeing the results. So that's really cool. So. Yeah, so before we kind of get into the topic here, the other reason like things have been a little crazy the last couple days is so let's see, Amber saying, let's be honest, he looks constipated. So, wow, wow, you just gonna call him out for like that? Holy smokes! Hopefully, you both aren't in the same room. He might have to put his phone down and get him to walk over there and be like, "What?" I mean, that's true. I mean, he could be, you know. I would hope though, if he's been working out this much, he doesn't have any problems. Oh, you are in the same room. The gym is my legs. Yeah, this is before you work out and then after, right? So that's why you're so got that determination. It's like I got to get this going. There's time to release some stuff. Wow, wow. Okay, good times. Hey, hey, at least I'm not in the car afterwards. You never know if there's any extra stuff going. Woo-hoo. Okay. All right. Back on track. And everybody that's watching is going, what is going on here? No, this is good. This is how it should be. We got to be having some fun and wake up. We all got to smile and laugh, darn it. Um, but yeah, but anyway, the last day or so, and then was been leading up to today. So weeks ago, the last week of May, both of my kids have birthdays, and so they were big milestones. So but my mom had surgery before that, and she had back surgery. So it was dad saying, not me, I'm always here. Well, I know you are. Yeah. Yeah, I think if anybody goes back to any of these shows and reads the chat, they can see how serious you are. So I so my mom's been finally doing better, and I mean, there was some little complications. Some of the recovery took a little bit longer. I'm not going to get into all that stuff because that's not important. But she's been able to have a couple weeks now that where she is moving a little bit better and can hang out. So because of my kids having milestone birthdays, it was time to finally have a family party for them. So that's what's leading up to today. So last couple days, we've been trying to get all the food and everything going, and it's funny, the wife was even saying, she goes, I'm going to be cutting a bunch, all the vegetables and stuff. And so I'm like, not that I'm going to hear. I mean, it's not like she's taking a cleaver and just like, so I'm like, I'm probably not going to hear you making noise, but it's okay. but yeah, sorry if I'm looking around, it's because the cat is around, and I was wondering if it was going to show up, come over here, but it wanted down in the basement so bad that I was wondering if it was going to jump up here, because it usually tends, when it sees a laptop, it thinks it's a toy, so it likes to climb on the keyboards. I mean, anybody that's had cats obviously knows. We're still now we're full, a year and a half into our having a cat, but this is something we're learning. So my wife has a actual a clear cover that goes over the keyboard, so her hands could go underneath them, but the cat can't get on the keyboard. So it gets that bad. But so yeah, so the birthday party's this afternoon. So we're, like I said, we're just trying to get all that stuff together. And obviously, in the past, for many years, my mom was always helped out, or bought this or whatever. And so with her still, she's getting around, it's just not as as easy just yet. So we just took all that off of her plate, which is great because we would anyway. But this time it was just like, we're handling everything so she doesn't have to deal with it. So yeah, so we're just making sure that we've had everything. So stuff like that, good stuff like that. So but that's so that'd be cool. That's what's going to be happening my Saturday afternoon. And then nope, that's something completely different. That doesn't matter. Other than that, Dinah saying my cats have to join in every Zoom meeting I attend. Well, that's, and Dinah, my wife's worked from home since 2012, I think it was, or 2011. She's been home that long, 2011. And she's, it's been her thing. Hey, Betsy, good morning. It's just been her thing. And so now with the cat, she's got, a couple layer desk, or, a couple, like she's got a shelf desk that you could put your monitors on and stuff. And so the cat will sit up on the one shelf where the monitors are and block her screen and just stare at her, "Hi, how's it going? What you doing?" And then she's having to do this to look around her and stuff. And then a couple times the cat will jump up on top of the screen. I don't even know how the heck does she do that. I mean, that's not that wide of a gap, but holy smokes, man. I've seen it. It's crazy, but yeah, wouldn't be a real Zoom meeting without a cat. I'm telling but her thing too is she'll jump up there for a little bit, but she really gets in there when she's engaged and she actually is in a meeting. So right, I'm like, of all times, or she's on the ground and then like meowing, hey, I'm over here, and so it's ridiculous, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Betsy, I would agree. Yeah, we took a gamble at having this, and we've gotten really, for a first time cat owners, I have to say we couldn't have gotten a better cat. I mean, you know, still, you obviously are going to get into trouble and stuff, but overall, I mean, the things, and the tolerance, the tolerance this cat takes, of always wanting to be picked up and petted, and she's cool with it, for a little bit, but then, it's like, okay, she wants down, so she only likes it for a little while. Even for me, like, I can't pick her up for very long. She'll let me pick her up. I'll do, give her a couple scratches or whatever like that. But then she's already, it's like, put me down. I'm like, okay, okay. That's the saying. It's my tiny Chihuahua who helps me with my computer. Well, wow. Yeah, Chihuahuas. I mean, they're in that size category for sure. But yeah, so but right. So that's why if I'm looking around, like I said, that's it. But I have not seen her, so I don't know if she's gone back upstairs or not, but I don't know. Well, she hasn't bothered me, so we'll see. I know she's not really used to me being on she normally hasn't been down here when I've done the show. So, but get a cat. They said it'll be fun, right? Right? Yeah. I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. There's moments it's like, what is going? And real quickly, because then I'll get into the topic. The other thing that blows my mind, and cats, you know, it's it'll be like 2 years old this fall. And so we um this cat, I mean, it obviously has zoomies and running and stuff like that. But oh my gosh, for something its size, you swear to God, you think that there is a Clydesdale running through the house. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I mean, we only the kitchen and where our dining room is kind of connected. I mean, we have a real true dining room, but that's our computer rooms. Um, but the whole kitchen and where our table is, it's hardwood floors. But the rest of the house has well, and then the walkway to the front door. But we got rugs over there. But everything else is carpet. But even on the carpet, you swore that a Clydesdale was running through the house. I mean, I'm like, and half the time you're going, what the hell is going on up there? I mean, and you look at her going, how are you stomping so much? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah, they're little mental patients in fur coat. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can, you know, she she was wanting to come down here because I've already been up and down a few times. So she wanted down really bad. So my daughter woke up and we were talking to my daughter before I was, coming down here for the last time. And she was, circling my daughter, right? Because it's right by the door where I need to come down. She's circling my daughter. And finally she's like, are you not paying attention to me? Do you see what I'm doing? And then she goes and bites her ankle. Not hard, but she bites her ankle. Whoa. That's another thing she does. Like, you don't pay attention to me, I will make you see me now. So she will. So Jesus. She's she it's funny. I don't know if it's a masculine thing or but with me, like, she doesn't want to truly like play. Like, I mean, you do the cat toys and things like that, but she truly doesn't want to like even try to like. I mean, she's bit me a few times. And, hey, Chris, good morning. But she hasn't like, as soon as she realizes she's like doing what she does to the girls, she like, whoa. and she stops, and it's not like I'm not being mean, and I'm okay with it because if I was a problem, obviously I would be like nope, nope, and give that energy back to her, like don't do that type of thing. But she doesn't want to hurt me like at all. Like she purposely doesn't want to hurt me. Like I said, she'll let me pick her up, let me pet her, and I always try to engage her. And one more thing, because I keep talking. She I've been trying to work on, and because it's been a while since I've done it more, but now I'm trying to work on my animal communication skills with her. And that's been kind of interesting because this week I really was pushing on it a little bit more. And you could see when you finally do get that connection, like even her demeanor changes, so that I'm finally getting those lines opened up, with her. And it's something I've been hoping to do with all animals, to just be able to have that kind of conversation. So it was really cool to see, like, when I finally get some information from her back. And so it was like she'll be looking around because she knows I'm right there, and all of a sudden she'll like look at me and like and so I'm like, oh, you heard that, did you? Yeah, let's see. And I gotta go back. Amber saying, I wonder how many paranormal evidence could be debunked back at. Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah, you need to know if there's ever been cats around, or if there is cats in the business, the home or something. Absolutely. Um, Debbie saying 99% of the reported demons are just cat ghosts. Yeah. Well, and I have had that though. I have had a couple. I've had a residential. I had a residential once, and that was a really cool one where um it was a former cat lady house type of thing. So there was tons and tons of cats. Oh my gosh. Hey Sharon, good morning. The room that the former lady lived in, was a bedroom. I'm telling you guys that, I mean, some of the coolest stuff was actually watching, like, there was 3 or 4 of us in the room, and I was sitting on one corner of the edge of the bed, and a couple of people, we were watching little like imprints on the comforter with our own eyes, and it was a daylight investigation. So there's no eye tricks or anything. We're literally like when if you push down on a bed, you see that indentation. We were watching a cat walk over the comforter. I mean, we're all looking at each other, not trying to like scare. So we're like, the whole eyes are going, "Are you seeing this kind of thing?" Because it was incredible. I mean, some of the coolest things that, I've gotten to witness, and so that was neat watching the little cat just doing a little bit of a walk, probably about 4 or 5 steps we saw. So it was really, really cool. My dad says your cat still wants to play with you. And she does. I mean, she'll jump in there, whenever they're getting cleaned or something like that, she'll hang out, just wants to hang out with them. She doesn't want to eat them. That's a good thing. So because we were nervous, she just wants to hang. So hey Katie, good morning. Sorry if I missed you. Anyway, so let me jump ahead after I take a sip here. Interesting enough, I'm drinking I think it was like end of January, early February. Bones Coffee Company that cause I kind of switch around and stuff, but the particular one, Bones Coffee, they were trying to get rid of any of their Christmas stuff. So this was a chestnut sort of one. So I was like, I'll get it, so I still got like maybe about 3 or 4 more, cups left of it. But so this was a Christmas edition today. So not that it is making me warm and cozy, but it's definitely not going to be warm and cozy. So that's my big thing. I want to make sure that everybody that's going to be experiencing the heat this week, take extra care of yourself. I was seeing mid 90s and stuff for a lot of people. So, you know, be careful, drink lots of fluids, check on people, and if you don't have air, hopefully you can get some fans, because we're gonna need it this week. It's not gonna be a joke for a lot of people. So be extra careful, okay? Um, and one more thing, and real quickly, before I forget, tomorrow, Father's Day. So I know, there's a lot of great dads, and if any of the ladies in here, husbands, you know, parents and things, happy Father's Day to all of you dads out there. So, uh, yeah, happy Father's Day. There's not a whole lot to say. It's just happy Father's Day. Um, yeah, if you want to be warm, cozy, go outside. I know, Dad. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to get any warmer than I am. I am kind of warm right now, actually. So, but yeah, no. So I wanted to talk about predictions, but I didn't want to use the classic term psychic. I mean, um, that's obviously it would be easier, but I wanted to change it up a little bit because obviously psychics do predictions, and a lot of times, um, yay, happy Father's Day, break out the grills, pretty much. Yeah, do it before it gets too hot. You might want to cook like breakfast out there instead of like lunch or dinner, tomorrow. Um, Thanks, Betsy. Um, but yeah, no, the so I put predictions in there because it's that was sort of like how my journey began, and it was, those psychic moments. Now, granted, all this stuff happened for me personally. It wasn't me seeing something for somebody else. It was always something that happened in my life. And it was weird because, when those started to happen, you know, it literally then played out like a movie that I saw. Typically, it's the day before. Sometimes the day of, so sometimes there's hours in between, but I was, you know, so blown away by my first experience with this that, you know, it was a traumatic moment for the whole family. And yet, I mean, granted, we knew things were going downhill, and I'll highlight that story because I've talked about it before. So in case people haven't heard it, but I'll go as quickly as I can through it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is it started a lot of things and the problem is this was in 87, 1987. So, I was just working. I was 10 and a half years old when this happened. So I was still a young pup working on 11. And of course, back then, this stuff, unusual, strange things you only saw in movies or, you just saw people that were crazy. And so, for something to happen, it was like, how could you tell anybody about this? You know what I mean? Because it's so unusual and you don't, like I said, if you don't hear some type of crazy person on the news or see something like this in a movie, which then you accept because, it's fictional things to where, that stuff's made up for a reason. It's for entertainment and things. But then when it happens to you, you can't help but be like, what's going on? So, but I'll try to do the fast version of this, but basically, you got slammed a bit, right? Yeah. Well, so my grandfather, my mom's dad, was dying of cancer. And, so we knew for a while that, it was terminal and it was going to happen at some point. And I, so we would visit him, every few days, and he was at home, he wanted to be home when the time finally came. Sorry, I thought the cat was there. um, so I, so there was, so, everything was fine. And then, there was been a couple times where things got a little scary and we, again, we were just kind of used to it, but in a way that where, we were prepared as best you can be. I mean, obviously nobody wants to lose anybody that you love, especially like for me, up to that point, I've had no grandparent pass away. Well, you know, so we had time. We had several months that we knew that was gonna, it was going to happen at some point. But the that was like the night before, and um I know my parents, I don't remember the exact time, but I know they got a call and they had to go and be there because, it felt like, he was having a rough time. And so they weren't obviously giving us all the information because, my brother and I were young. So they go over there and then, we had a babysitter hanging out with us. And so I remember going to bed and, it was just weird. It was like a movie turned on and I ended up seeing so basically, instead of saying it twice. So what ended up happening is this is how it went. And so I'm just going to do it like as if it was in real time. So I saw myself waking up and again, this was a summer, so there wasn't really anything going on. There wasn't like school or something. So my brother and I had bunk beds. So I remember, it was still dark out. I remember waking up super early, for real. Again, I'm trying to be real. I'm waking up and I get down because I was on the top bunk. I get down and, go use the restroom. But I knew when I got out of the restroom, there was going to be some commotion. So I get out of the bathroom, and then the bathroom's like super close to the end of the hallway, which then is where the living room is. And then, when you get to that point, you look to your right, there's the front door. So I ended up seeing, um, so this is what happened. So I get to the corner. So I'm already like, well, that's weird because I'm exactly right here. My brother was actually up, and then our babysitter was in the room. And next thing I know, I hear the door starting to open. So sure enough, um, the front door opens, and this is all what I'm seeing, both in the dream and then basically, and then what's happening. So my dad's opening the basically, like the storm door, and holding it open, which is again what I saw. And my mom's walking up through the door, and she's in shambles, and she couldn't really say it, so my dad ended up saying it verbatim, which now I can't remember the exact words, but basically he said it exactly how I heard it, in the vision. And he's gone, type of thing. And so it was, and then immediately, I knew my brother was going to actually, lose it, which happened on cue. And at this point, all these things of getting to that point, seeing the exact words, seeing where people were placed, everything was exactly spot on. And although, it was emotional, I didn't cry right instantly, because it was like this whole vision just completely came true from top to bottom. And I'm like trying to, as a 10 and a half year old, how do you analyze things? But you're trying to figure out, how did that occur and then become true? And I couldn't say anything. And even then with, my grandfather passing, it was difficult to, um, bring it up to anybody. And I knew if I brought it up, it was just going to be blown off. And so I just buried it. I never forgot it, but I just kept it. And I never said anything for the longest time, because I didn't understand it. And so, and then it happened a couple more times. And then when my dad's dad, so, my other grandfather passed away, it was the same thing. Saw everything the way it went down. And it was just like, granted, these aren't the best situations to, to have a psychic moment on, but these are happening, and then, it just evolved into more things, but it was never on cue. It was never when I wanted. And even then, things escalated more once I got, out of high school and through college. And then they started happening a lot more, and then they started happening at just weird things. So I started predicting things all the time, so to speak, because I would see it. So it would happen, would see it, and then I would, I was always scared to tell anybody about it when I would foresee it, because it's like, oh yeah, right, So I still, into my 20s, I'm not saying nothing to nobody, you know. But it became a point where, I until I opened up the spiritual path and started taking classes, I was able to refine some of it. I was able to then use my guides to then trigger these. And so over the years, when all my services were still open, people asked about things, or like, what do you see about this coming up? Or, I would get the messages, and then I would relay that to the people. And so, it it's no sweat off me. They're just telling me what, hey, what's going to be happening with this job, type of thing. And then, I just listen for what they say. I ask them, I repeat the question I ask them, and then they give me the answer, and then I share it over. And so, it's a neat thing. I mean, it's not cheating. And you have to remember, because I know my dad, I'm surprised he hasn't said it yet. Can you give me the winning lottery numbers? Because that used to be a thing. Like, once I finally, the family knew about this stuff, that was always his first thing, to crack a joke and be like, oh, give me the winning lottery. Problem is, that's a greed thing, and that goes against the universal rules. So, it's not about even so, it's definitely not about monetary gain, but you're not doing this for any greater good. you're just boosting yourself up in the wrong reasons. And so, it's not meant for that. It's in a way, I'm going to say it this way, even though it's not the best way to say it, but it's in a simplistic um, vision. You're not asking for things that you shouldn't be asking for. It needs to be things that are coming from the heart, like that. Like, obviously, romantic situations, where you find a partner, a job. I mean, those things are still valid. I mean, because it is a part of life, you know. Um, but even then, you could relate it to health issues and things, and you can say, hey, well, you've got something going on with this, you should take a look at, get that checked out. And when you get it checked out, you catch something early to where they can fix it, and then you don't have to deal with those things. So there is useful useful things for that. Amber saying, I understand exactly what you're saying, still haven't said anything. Yeah, absolutely. But in I there's been a few, and I think the reason why this I decided on this one today was because there was a couple moments today for couple little, a couple times people have asked a couple things, and you know again, I'm being careful, I'm being cautious that I'm not jumping too far around and um, pushing myself to where I shouldn't be. But I I'm always, scared that I'm just going to go back down the go back down into the hole, and be shut down for more time. And so I'm careful. So, just, if it's like one little quick little thing, I will give it a quick shot if I can at the time, because obviously during the day has become a real tough time. And for a few years, um, during the pandemic, and even like, 1 or 2 years after the pandemic, basically, it was easier because during the day I had some time. I actually could do a couple little quick readings, not full on readings. I usually save those for the evening, but short, like, quick, one messages, just like doing mediumship. But message here, message there, something like that. Real quick things, nothing that's time consuming, because during the day, for my previous role was you're on call the entire time you're there. So you can get a phone call and have to run to someplace. So you really can't get too deep into it. But question here and there, was always big. And so predicting things is always a thing that I still enjoy, and obviously I'm not doing a whole lot of it, but because I'm still kind of closed. And Betsy, that kind of goes along with what the right here is. I don't, I don't have anything. I have no plans on anything as much as I would um, love to, and I've missed everything. Really, the last, I want to say, almost a year and a half now. I mean, I can pretty much count how many times I've done anything uh, with any service, which has only just been literally about a handful of times for the last year and a half, because I've just not been in the proper I'm not in the proper place for it. And no, you're good, Betsy. No worries. Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure I'm honest. I don't want to lead anybody on that, things are great. And even then, like, I have done like a one message thing here and there. And I've only done a couple remote views, and they were for, really good close friend. A couple little healings. One was on my mom when she fell last summer. And so you know, uh, uh, little stuff like that. I've just, it's like you do it, it's almost like just making sure that you can, but at the same time, um, I was asked. Everything was, oh, hey, could you do this? And I'm like, do I feel okay at that moment for something, short? And it's like, yeah, and so, but I just, haven't been able to officially be like, yep, I'm good to go. But hopefully soon. I mean, I've had uh the last week or two, I've had some pretty good feelings about things. So I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. It's been a while since it's, you know, we're doing okay. And you feel some excitement in it. And even for me, I've just personally been working with my guides a lot more too. Not that I never did. I mean, yeah, I mean, I would be a little lazy about it, but um, just feeling like I feel comfortable enough to ask them for what do you think? And so that, that's happened a lot more. And I've gotten some really good interactions, from them, which, they're there all the time. It's just me asking. But I always felt like, I hate feeling really down or really exhausted and stuff. And it's like, hey, can you help me? And you're not, you want to give them a little bit just as much as they're going to give it back to you, even though they're willing to help 24/7, 365. So, but yeah, no, I mean, so I still, there's one prediction I can't do. I just don't know when. But I think what, when I'll know for sure, and what I'll end up doing is, I'll probably just do things that are, um, I'll just, it'll be so like, you know, hidden, not in a, and I mean, not hidden that, but what I'll do is I'll try to start, hitting some people up, and saying, hey, you down for a reading or whatever, or healing or what, something to that point, that effect. And then that's when then I will, once I do a few of those, maybe for like a month or so, a couple times a week or whatever, then I can like be like, I can start looking for things, or, you know, even then this week alone, I was sitting there, like I had one day, whole day where even with all the, chaos at work and stuff, I was having a whole day where it's like, man, I feel so good right now. Like I could, just do card readings for a live show. And it was like, in my mind, I'm like, wow, that would excite a lot of people. And I'm like, yeah, but when can I do this? I said, middle of the week is the worst time to do that for me, just because of how exhausted I can get when I'm home. But I'm like, oh man, that sounds like so much fun right now to just do card readings. It's not gonna, you know, take too much away from me. It's not gonna beat me up too much, which is the point, and I'm like, maybe I can do that. And then, then all the other, ways of life pop in, and I got to focus on things. And so it's like, okay, but it was cool because at least there was that feeling, that positive feeling of, you know, this may be true signs of the future, that it's going to happen at some point, that I'm wanting to, that I feel like I could hold my own, for a live show. Granted, I think I'm still going to do what I just said. I think I'm going to probably do a few things, even like with cards and stuff, because I still have cards that I had from a couple weeks ago. I'll still do, I'll still do a few things just to get warmed up, just to get a little bit of a rhythm back and things, and then maybe do it. Then I think that would probably be the most fun of it all, is just to, I'm going to do, because the one years ago I did that where I would plan one live reading, and then I would secretly not plan the other one. I would just go live. And I did that on the idea that the people that were supposed to be there were meant to be there, and those are the ones that needed the readings the most. And I thought that was a really cool thing, to do. And that might be something that this happens. I may just at some point go live, and I'll just have cards ready, and if people show up, they show up. If they don't, I don't get a single person. That's okay. I'll just pull cards for myself the whole time. But but I mean, I think if I can get to that point, that's where I would go. Now, granted, there is no timeline. I don't want to put too many high hopes out there. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to, jump on that. But let's see. Betsy was saying, when it's time to look forward to the opportunity. Absolutely, Betsy. Dessa saying, does anything ever come through without asking? Well, I will answer that, Dessa. I hit back if you try to hit me up. Also, checks in the mail. There you go, Dad. Amber, wow, I love to hear that you're healing. Thanks, Amber. Yeah, Dessa, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, so when it depends. Okay, so the guides will always, your guides. I mean, granted, I'm using guides just for me. So, everybody sometimes has different terminology of who's looking out for them. Gods, goddesses, God himself. It all works out. You know what I mean? So I'm just using my thing for what I'd like to, how I describe it. My guides will certainly do that. And they have done that. Which is another sign that they've been giving me some information. Like, a couple people, I know that have been sick, and they've given me something that they need to do. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be healed, but it's a part of a healing, so I'm not actually doing the healing, but I'm giving them something for them to do. And that's happened a couple times over the last 2 weeks, actually. for a couple of people. I'm like, hey, you need to do this. They're telling me. I always my famous word too on a lot of it. I'll say my little birdies. My little birdies say you need to do this, and so sometimes it's just simple things. It's nothing crazy. It's not like you need to go. You need to go to church or something like that. It's usually like, hey, do this, and as soon as you can, because I know sometimes depending on what it is, you may not be able to, um, and that's how it goes. So that's a good sign. And a lot of times, Dessa, I mean, it's you really want to put the question out there. Sometimes you've asked the question because you don't have to say it out loud. You can just think it. And there's times too where you're already thinking it and the answer is already showing up. So that's a good thing. But they do that too to kind of give you, hey, don't forget to ask us these things that are, if we know we know how serious it is for you. Just ask. But at the same time, they're also, as much as they want to help, they also will give you space, just like everybody else. I mean, I see Amber was the last comment. So if Amber's having a rough day, I'm not going to sit there. I will definitely give her, a little bit of a positive comment, but I'm not going to sit there and keep bothering her through the remainder of the day. If she's having a rough thing, I'm going to give her some space because she'll need it. Sometimes you need to digress and decompress and just, spend a little time for yourself. Cool. But I'm not going to sit there and hound her, for every hour. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I mean, and that's just going to build up, a spot. So the guides do that too. They know that they can throw something at you, and if you pick up on it, because I know some people miss them. But when I get it, it's like, oh, because that usually, I mean, it stops me instantly. I'm like, okay, I gotcha. I'm so used to them coming through. But yeah, so they'll still do it, especially a lot of times they'll do it when it's really, really important. It's like like a big decision type of thing. They will jump in to try to throw you in. But a lot of times, it is going to be encrypted. I've talked about that before of like what messages are like. So sometimes you gotta look through the message. You gotta look at it because it's puzzle pieces and you got to put them together. And it's not easy because they can be tricky about it. But at the same time, there's a whole point to that. It's not meant to just be, 2 + 2 is 4. It's not supposed to be so simple. They want you to work at it because when you finally realize the answer, the 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 outcome is even better than you would have expected. So, uh, like I said, now I'm just so used to seeing them, and when they're coming in, and then I just like, okay, got it. Yep, I'm on. you know, so very cool stuff. Uh, but yeah, so you know, uh, and always in because I know I'm trying to go to the hour mark because yeah, literally I have like 50 seconds, but I wanted to make sure I got the full hour in. Every one of you that's watching this now live, or it's you're watching this back in another time and you made it this far into the show. Uh, we all have those gut feelings. So you all do have the ability to ask, throw your questions out into the universe, and you should be able to get something back. And that whole vibe of, this just doesn't seem right. It's there. That's there for you all. Whether you're willing to listen to it or not, that again, that's up to you. But they're there. Those gut feelings that's there for a reason. They want you, to do this or not do this. I mean, I guess the classic is don't make a turn down this street, go to the next one. It's like you don't feel right turning. Okay, so you skip it, and you move to the next one. Then it's okay. There's a reason. There's a complete reason for it. So don't be afraid to go off of that. Go off of those gut feelings. Uh, they're not supposed to be wrong. Again, you have the choice in the end. So if you ignore it and go there and then something happens, that's on you. But at the same time, it doesn't hurt to pay attention to them. And when something doesn't feel right, even if it's something you've done 100 times, like I've, um, I mean, I've been, like the old mill, you know, on investigations. I've had it where they were screaming at me, "Do not go in the basement. Do not go in the basement." And it's like one of my favorite places. Do not go in the basement. Okay. I didn't go in the basement for the whole night. Nothing bad happened. And even people that went down there, nothing bad happened. But I was told not to go. I respect it. I'm not going. And it's just you just do it. It's weird, and when you're not used to, it's like I do this all the time. I should. Why can't I do it? Okay, well, go for it. And even then, doesn't mean that something bad will happen either. But again, sometimes it's they want you to pay attention. Like this isn't the right moment, the right point in time to do this, whatever it is. Like go into the basement. This moment is not right for you. And there could be things that I just don't understand exactly why, but this point in time, don't do it. Okay. It's just that easy. I'm used to it. I really am. So, um, but yeah, look into that. Yep. There you go, Debbie. Always listening to the gut. Yeah. Like I said, it's never really wrong. I mean, it's almost impossible for it to be wrong. It's you you yourself that's end up going to be creating more of the issue of ignoring it or fighting it and questioning it. Now you've the one and you did it all. So don't be afraid of those gut feelings. Like I said, I mean, even with family stuff, it's like everybody wants to do this, and it's like I don't feel good about that, or I don't want to leave the house. There's something just it's not being lazy or just what, but something saying don't go out, don't go out. And I fought for it, and I fought. I'm like, I'm just not going. Sometimes the family's gone, and sometimes they stayed. But I just it's just it's just one of those things. Just being conscious over. So hopefully that's kind of cool. Little stories into that stuff, and then even then just listening to yourself. Because like I said, we all have that. You all can do it, and so listen to your gut and see what happens. And even then, you can again, kind of like what I said a few times, throw it out there. You can either say it out loud with your voice or keep it inside you, and see if you get a feeling. See if you get some other. If you don't get a feeling, see if there's a visual sign for it. Um, let's say, hey, I'm really thinking about going, to the park today. Just let's just try that. And let's say you're standing outside because obviously a park would be outside. So let's say you're standing outside, you ask that question, and you know, let's say at this point a bird flies directly over your head. Okay. Now you're just going to probably chalk it up. Oh, a bird flew over my head. However, what was the bird doing? It was flying, right? It's giving you a message. Pretty much it was saying, yeah, you need to go. It's let's go. It's basically flying over you as in to carry you along to said park. That's an answer. So it doesn't even have to be that gut feeling. You can get something like that, an animal thing. Sometimes even on a very still day where there's no wind, let's say you're missing a loved one. And I'll just like I was talking about my grandfather. You go outside and there's no wind, and you could just be like, hey, like in this instance, hey, grandpa, hope you're doing okay. Miss you, whatever you want to say. And then, if you got a moment and you can stop by, I'd appreciate it. I've had this happen on multiple times when I've done things like that. And then you get a slight little breeze that hits you. Now, a lot of times when I've done this, I'm up on my front porch, which is kind of blocked by a lot of wind. So to then have a wind out of nowhere real lightly go through and just hit your cheek, that's as clear as it gets. You know what I mean? Because you could still say it's just some wind that just blew through. However, you asked for something and they stopped by. So that's always really, really cool. So don't be afraid to ask for that stuff, and be ready for it. So, hey, Jeff, good morning. Thanks for today's show, Adam. Everyone had a great weekend. Debbie, you take care. Yep. Take care of yourself. Be cool. Literally be cool. So Yes, I'm going to get going, guys. We did get past the hour mark, so I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, Des. I appreciate that. So yes, enjoy yourself. Be careful with the heat. I was just saying, take care of it. Check in on people. Because this is, anybody that you're aware of, neighbors, definitely check on everybody, this week, because we don't want to lose anybody. But yes, be careful. Take care of each other. Nikki, thank you so much. So yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and you enjoy yourselves. Have fun the rest of this weekend, and I will be back very, very soon. So, with that said, you have been watching Adam the Black Swamp Medium, the mid-morning medium chat. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching this if you're checking this out at a later time. And as always, all my love, light, and peace to each and every single one of you. Take care.